to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
The courtroom was meant to be quiet, a space for calm, controlled decision-making. But the moment the hearing began, it felt like something heavy was waiting to explode. Tension buzzed through the air as the judge walked in, and every eye turned to Teyana Taylor and Aaron Pierre. What started as a custody case quickly took a turn no one expected. Witnesses say Teyana seemed distracted, distant, but no one saw the outburst coming. When Aaron Pierre's name was mentioned, just once, the room shifted. Teyana's whole energy changed. Moments later, she stood and shouted something that left even the judge frozen in place. The courtroom turned into chaos as her voice rose, trembling and angry. This wasn't just about legal rights anymore. It became something deeper, more personal, and raw. And it was all unraveling in front of cameras, lawyers, and an audience waiting to pick sides. The day had started like any other legal session. Aaron and Teyana had been locked in this custody dispute for weeks now, each trying to prove they were the better parent for their children. But this hearing was different. Something about the mood hinted at a new strategy from Aaron's legal team, and then it happened. Aaron's name was brought up in court documents submitted for review. The room grew noticeably tenser, as lawyers explained that Aaron had been present during important parenting decisions. They brought up past concerns, suggested emotional influence, and hinted that Teyana's romantic life might be affecting her parenting choices. This wasn't just a courtroom battle anymore, it was the beginning of a full-blown scandal. That single shift in focus changed the energy in the room instantly. It wasn't just about Aaron and Teyana, it was about who else had entered their home, their family, their children's lives. The first official accusation came like a punch to the gut. Aaron's lawyers claimed Aaron had repeatedly interfered with parental decisions. They didn't stop there, they produced screenshots of messages between Teyana and Aaron. One of the texts reportedly read, "Don't let Aaron manipulate you again," sent during a moment when both parents were coordinating a decision about their kids. As the judge reviewed the evidence, murmurs filled the courtroom. Even people used to drama sat up straighter. Teyana's face flushed with emotion, but it wasn't embarrassment, it was anger. You could see the pain behind her eyes, the frustration mounting. The suggestion that Aaron was some kind of puppet master in her parenting. It pushed her to the edge, and what came next no one was ready for. That edge arrived fast and hard. When the judge asked directly if Aaron had ever been left alone with the children, Teyana didn't answer calmly. She snapped. Witnesses say she stood up so quickly her chair scraped across the floor. She shouted, "This has nothing to do with Aaron." Her voice echoed in the room like a fire alarm. The judge tried to bring control back, urging her to calm down, but she didn't stop. Her voice cracked as she said, "You're letting him twist everything. He's the reason I can't breathe anymore." It wasn't just a breakdown. It was a woman losing the strength to pretend she wasn't hurting. Court staff moved in, and her attorney gently pulled her back into her seat. Her hands shook, tears streamed silently, and the judge took a pause. But in that short moment, the courtroom wasn't just a legal space anymore. It was a battlefield for Teyana's heart. After the courtroom calmed down, the judge spoke with a voice colder than before. He issued a formal warning, something courtroom watchers say is rarely handed out unless absolutely necessary. "Any further disruptions," he said sternly, "and this hearing will be rescheduled under contempt." Teyana nodded quietly, but the atmosphere had changed. Even Aaron, who had appeared composed the entire time, looked uncomfortable. He leaned into his lawyer, whispering something no one could hear. The judge adjusted his tone, now cautious, measured, as if trying to keep the fire from reigniting. The hearing moved forward, but the emotional storm from Teyana's outburst hung over everyone like fog. Everyone in the room knew the case had turned, and not in her favor. Aaron's legal team acted swiftly and strategically, sensing a shift in momentum, and using it to their advantage. They began to lean more aggressively into Aaron's presence in Teyana's life, painting the picture that her romantic involvement was clouding her judgment and pulling her focus away from her children. It wasn't just about presenting facts anymore, it was about shaping a narrative. They emphasized a vacation Teyana had taken with Aaron, notably without the children, who had remained behind under the care of a nanny. The implication was clear: she had chosen leisure and companionship over parental duty. This, they argued, was not a one-off indulgence, but a window into her priorities. The courtroom grew more tense, as Aaron himself became a point of focus. Teyana's legal team initially tried to deflect, insisting his involvement with the children was limited and supportive, not parental. But Iman's lawyers persisted, shifting attention to Aaron's public image and past personal struggles, rumors of emotional instability, lapses in judgment, and questionable choices. These weren't confirmed issues, but in the courtroom, even speculation could carry weight. The idea was not to prove Aaron unfit, but to cast doubt, to make the judge question whether his presence was truly safe or stabilizing for young children. It was a bold tactic, some might say ruthless, but it began to work. The judge, previously more focused on Teyana's ability to parent, began to ask deeper, more personal questions. He inquired about Aaron's role in the household, his influence on the children, the extent of his decision-making power, and even his interactions during routine family life. What started as a custody evaluation had morphed into a moral and emotional inspection. Teyana wasn't just being scrutinized as a mother anymore, she was being judged for the company she kept, for who she loved, and for how those choices reflected on her as a parent. What happened inside the courtroom didn't stay there for long. Within hours, the story had spilled into the digital world, igniting conversation across every major social media platform. The outburst, the accusations, and the judge's change in tone all became fodder for viral posts. The case, once a private family matter, was now a national spectacle. Reactions were split and loud. Supporters of Teyana flooded Twitter and Instagram, rallying behind her with passionate posts defending her right to love and to be emotional in a high-stress situation. "She's doing what any mother would do, fighting for her babies," one tweet read. Another viral comment stated, "Every strong woman gets demonized when she won't stay silent." But not everyone saw it that way. A wave of criticism also emerged, portraying Teyana's courtroom behavior as erratic and self-sabotaging. "Screaming in court doesn't make you look strong, it makes you look unstable," read one blunt comment. The internet split into two camps, those who saw a mother under attack and those who saw a woman unraveling under pressure. TikTok creators jumped on the moment, dramatizing the courtroom scenes, voice-acting transcripts, and mimicking what they imagined the arguments sounded like. Hashtags like #StandWithTeyana and #CustodyChaos began trending, amplifying the spectacle. What made it even more intense was the celebrity engagement. Hollywood figures began subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, choosing sides. One famous actress posted a cryptic message on her Instagram story: "This system loves silencing strong women." Though she didn't name names, everyone knew it was a nod to Teyana. The post went viral within minutes. Another well-known celebrity, who had long been friends with Iman, offered a different sentiment: "Co-parenting isn't war, unless you make it one." That line, quietly loaded with meaning, hinted at sympathy for Iman's more measured approach. The silence from some of Teyana's celebrity friends was even more telling. Fans quickly noticed which usual allies weren't speaking up, and theories began swirling. Had they turned on her? Were they staying neutral to protect their own brands? In the echo chamber of social media, silence itself became a statement. Meanwhile, Iman's image was undergoing its own transformation. His team maintained a disciplined, emotion-free front. There were no dramatic posts, no public jabs, just quiet, calculated moves both in and out of court. In a world where loud often wins attention, Iman's silence came across as dignified and stable. Public perception began to shift. For many, the contrast between the two parties was striking. On one side, Teyana, passionate, vocal, clearly distressed. On the other, Iman, collected, private, composed. While some admired Teyana's vulnerability and strength, others interpreted her visible emotion as a lack of control. Hollywood, always image-conscious, began to take sides quietly, reshaping the narrative in real time. What had started as a custody battle now symbolized something deeper. It wasn't just about parental rights, it was about image, gender dynamics, public opinion, and the power of perception. Love, pain, motherhood, and reputation were all on trial. And as the pressure mounted, it became clear that this case wouldn't be settled only by legal arguments. It was being fought, and perhaps decided, in the court of public opinion. Later that night, Teyana posted a single story to her Instagram. It was a black screen, with simple white text that read, "Fighting to protect your babies shouldn't make you the villain." No tags. No dramatic music. Just those few words, and it hit people hard. Within minutes, fans flooded her page with messages of love and support. "We see you. We believe you. You're not the villain, Mama." But not everyone felt the same. Some questioned why she'd let Aaron so close to the situation, if she really wanted to protect her kids. Then why bring Aaron into this mess? One comment read. That question hung in the air, unspoken but unavoidable. The very man she tried to defend had become the center of her courtroom chaos. And yet, Aaron himself has said nothing. Not a single post, tweet, or quote. Complete silence. But insiders claim he's furious. One source said he's been blindsided, feeling like he's being blamed for something he never asked to be part of. Another insider even mentioned he's considering legal options if his name keeps getting dragged into public court debates. Could Aaron sue for defamation? Could he turn against Teyana, breaking what little bond they still had? This love triangle, once quiet and private, has now spiraled into a legal and emotional mess no one expected. And as of now, no one knows who's really on whose side. From inside the courtroom to every corner of social media, this custody battle has stopped being about co-parenting. It's now a storm of betrayal, outbursts, legal maneuvers, and silence that screams louder than any testimony. Teyana's emotional collapse, Iman's methodical strategy, and Aaron's quiet rage are all part of a much larger drama still unfolding. And with another hearing approaching fast, the tension is only getting worse. Will Teyana recover from this? Will Aaron make a move? Will Iman press his advantage? One thing's certain, this isn't over. So if you've been following the story, tell us what you think in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because if today's courtroom chaos taught us anything, it's that the next twist might just shatter everything.